Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash that subscribe button, turn on the notification so you get notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all so much, and I am saying massive shout out to every one of you for all the love and support you all give me here. I am truly grateful. Thank you all so much. Please pardon my voice. I have flu and I am recovering. Thank you. So today we'll be talking something very, very important. And I don't know where this man is from. I don't know. But this man is like, he needs to be protected by all means. Right? This man called out white people and was telling them that they keep calling Black Americans, African Americans savages. That they are not savages. That they are savages. And he went further to tell them that their ancestors did so many horrible things to African Americans, and up to this very moment they still have the audacity to say Black people are these, Black people are that it is not Black people, that they are the major problems. And he went into Lane and Shane and actually explain how they laid so many people, and not just only doing that they also remove the genital parts and share out, like he said so many things. And he is telling them that if I ever hear that African Americans are savages, it's not gonna go well with I and you guys. You know what? Stay go to the screen. I am gonna roll this clip. We'll come back to talk about it, and I absolutely want to read all your comments. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. I mean, this man came all out and canceled them with no fear. I mean, we need more of people like this. So straight up, I am rolling the clip.
You're asking us to talk about history, the history of the South. This is in Georgia. What happened in Georgia? There were savages in Georgia. It was the ancestors of the white right-wingers. They were absolute savages. They murdered people. They lynched people. They raped people. They enslaved people. They took babies from their mothers and sold them as property. You want to talk about savages? Your ancestors were the biggest savages the world has ever seen. And so don't you dare call a Black man a savage after you murdered him. Don't you dare do that. I'm so sick of African Americans being called violent when the world's worst violence was done to them, not by them, to them, not by them. For God's sake, you want to do racist stereotypes? If it fit anywhere, and it doesn't, but if it fit anywhere, it would certainly fit white right-wingers in the South, who has hundreds of years of history of being savages. Savages. They snatched babies and they sold them as property and they raped their mothers. Savages. That's what they were. You want to talk about stereotypes? Screw all of you who still defend that Confederacy, that monstrosity. Anyone who defends that is a barbaric savage.
That's why they don't want to teach American history in public schools. That's why there's been a strong orchestrated effort to prevent the teaching of anything that you just mentioned right now. Because, hey, God forbid that, children learn about the real savages in this country's history, right? Let's go ahead and dehumanize people over their toenails, but let's also erase the part of our history that, yes, is dark, that's awful, but is the truth.
You know what white right-wingers did in the South? And they did this for hundreds of years. In a lynching, they not only hung the person, they burned the person, and then they cut off their genitalia. And in the midst of doing all this, I swear to God, you could look it up in the history books, they had a picnic around the body. And then they would take home pieces of the charred body for memorabilia. They would have their kids, go pick pieces of the body off. And then after they did all of that, they had the temerity to call Black people violent. No more. You don't ever get to call a Black person violent. You don't ever get to do that. So if you're a white right-winger in the South, don't cry about Oh no, my beloved ancestors. Your ancestors were not beloved. They weren't. They were monsters. So I said it because it's true. How you react to that is up to you. You can say, hey, that was terrible. They shouldn't have done that.
My people,
let's look at
it
America.
is happening right now.
We brought blacks
It is happening
into
again.
this country as slaves. We never intended them to be anything other than a slave. But they began to grow in number and in power, and eventually they fought their way to some freedom. So we became even more cruel, and to keep our black Americans down, we lynched. But yet they rose. So then we used the welfare system, the criminal justice system, to keep them down, to contain them, to destroy them. But yet they rose and they're rising. Then we built prisons and jails to hold them. Yet they rose. And so now we are doing exactly what the Pharaoh did at the end, sending out a decree: kill them. So until we admit that when we wrote this Constitution that all men are created equal, that we never intended to include our black brothers and sisters, our nation may end up facing exactly what the Egyptians faced when they refused to let God's people go. So I'm going to say this to my white fellow Americans, that the bloodshed that is on its way is not on the hands of our fellow black Americans, but is on our hands. We are the ones that are refusing to let God's people go. We are the ones that are refusing to acknowledge that we do not value our black brothers and sisters as equal individuals or equal Americans as us white men. And to my black brothers and sisters, the racial issues, as I've said, have been there from the very foundation. But why do we see it more? Because there's a shifting. See, us white men have been at the head since the foundation. But we've had a black president. And you know, we've done everything in our power to keep him from really changing things. Now we have another minority rising to the top, a white female. What does that say? Those of us who are white men who have been at the head are now starting to see and fear that we are going to become the tail. And we know what we've done to you. And so now we're fearful that you're going to do to us what we have done to you. But I will say this. I've lived in a black community for 23 years. I've never been treated the way that this country has treated my black Americans. So I call out my white Americans to say we better heed, repent, acknowledge, and change. Because if we don't, I just want to again say this. The bloodshed that we will experience is on our hands, not the hands of our fellow black Americans. I welcome your comments. I welcome your feedback. Hit me up on Facebook or go to my webpage at www.studio2911.org. Again, that's studio2911.org. I don't necessarily know the answer, except for us white Americans need to repent, acknowledge the lies that we have taught, acknowledge our value system of equality. It is not here, And it does not include our black brothers and sisters. And we need to change. And we need to change now. Thanks for your time. Bless you.
You know, these people should be protected by all means, because I mean it takes a lot of balls for somebody to come out to say something like this. I have been saying this, and I know most of you know this, you know. They have been calling black people savages and all that. Like, I once said this before. I mean, that was the narrative they pushed to Africans, you know, that African Americans are no good. They are savages. They are this, they are that. Not until you start digging deep. And also, that was what they told you all about Africans, right? They didn't tell you people anything good about Africans, and they also did not tell us anything good about African Americans. You know, it was the wrong narratives that they always push out. Not until I started digging deep, right? And then I found out all the truth. I mean, all that it's been lies upon lies upon lies. I mean, with all the horrible things they have done to African Americans, black people, they are still looking for more lies to tell about them, instead of them to acknowledge that they have done wrong and we are willing to do better. I mean, that is not even coming in there. Like, it is not at all in their dictionary. Rather, all they want to do is, like, you know, keep damage control, and the rest of it. I mean, I am so sick of all this. I mean, the fact that it is coming from them, not from even a black person. You heard what he said, that he has lived in black community for 20-something years and has never been treated anything bad. And he is telling their own people that they have done terrible things to African Americans. Still, they always find a place in their heart to accommodate everyone. I mean, that shows how amazing they are. And still, you all want to keep doing horrible things to them. I mean, I keep saying it. Black Americans are not savages, and they can never be. You all are. Thank you all so much for all the... Sorry, please pardon my voice. I am trying so hard to project. I have flu, and I am recovering. Thank you all so much for all the support, and see you all in my next video. Bye for now.